So, what's up with the MIDI 2.0 network transport?
It's really good. We have been working on transports for a while. One of the big things about MIDI 2 is we really needed modern transport. So obviously we've had USB MIDI 2 came out a couple of years ago now, and we are seeing the devices as we were showing off around the corner earlier. But one of the big things we wanted to make sure is that we had the idea of a transport that can go over some distance. And so we've been looking at the network space, and in late last year we released the Network MIDI 2 transport, which is for home networks either on Ethernet or wireless. Ethernet obviously provides some benefits due to making sure latency is low. But one of the things we wanted to show off here was not just that we're doing MIDI 2 here over network, but that also Microsoft's new Windows drivers and Windows MIDI services has got an early preview of how they're going to handle Network MIDI 2. So very simply, in this demonstration, all we're doing here is having a MIDI 1 keyboard hooked up to a bone box, which is now translating it to MIDI 2. And you can now see, very basically, but you can see the notes come in on Windows services. This is going to be a game changer long term, because you can imagine if you've got a couple of different computers in your network all running different sound plugins, or you've got keyboards, you don't have to worry about distance, and it will be a great way of networking your individual devices.
So there are also some advantages for people who use MIDI 1. One of the new things, I think, is the ability to send MIDI between different applications, which you could do on a Macintosh, but up till now, you couldn't do it on a Windows computer.
Yeah, I don't think we've really explored all the different opportunities for that, and certainly for inter-app communication, this is a great way of doing it. The beauty about the Network MIDI 2 spec is that individual applications can implement it if they don't want to wait for the low-level OS systems. And we've seen implementations in Mac, Windows, obviously natively, which works really well, and also in Linux. And so we've got this, and Android, I should not forget that as well. And so for all of the major operating systems, there are implementations available. And this will be really good in terms of that that inter-app, and also outside of app. It sort of opens up your whole ecosystem.
So we're talking about transports, and for people who are not technical, transport is just a way to get MIDI data from one place to another.
Yes.
It's kind of the pipe.
It's the pipe.
It's the pipe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's some late breaking news on transports.
There are.
So, you know, I personally would like to be able to see perhaps MIDI 2.0 over Bluetooth, or MIDI 2.0 over the web MIDI. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can talk a little bit about that. Don't want to give too much away, but yes, there are certainly a lot of interest, and also the beginnings of a working group to look at doing Bluetooth, doing UMP over Bluetooth, which is the new protocol new format of MIDI messages, which again will open up the environments dramatically, and also allow these kind of wireless devices. If you were just sitting at home, you've got your iPad and you want a keyboard, Bluetooth is great because it doesn't require a network. You can just immediately connect to the device. But again, you will get all the benefits of MIDI 2, which is all of that per note expression and higher resolution. So there's still a lot of work to be done. I have no idea at this stage when it'll be released, but there's some very big players interested in that.
Yeah, you mentioned very big players, and I always say that that's that's the MIDI Association's superpower.
Yes.
And our superpower is that we have Google, Microsoft, and Apple as members. We also are one of the few places on the planet where you can get Apple, Google, and Microsoft to agree on anything, and we do get them to do that. And so, for example, you know, looking at Bluetooth, you're going to have people like Pete Brown and people like Tori Walker, the people who are passionate about MIDI in those companies, working to solve those problems and bring it to everybody. It's a little bit different with web MIDI, and the reason why it's different is that's run out of the W3C, which is a big organization that does all internet standards, so you can imagine that's a little more complicated than just our small little nice very friendly musical instrument industry.
Yeah.
But we're going to be working with W3C, and we're actually sending Florian Bomer, who's the head of the Transport Working Group, to EarCam for a web audio conference that's coming up in March. And so, yeah, we're doing everything we can to make sure that we're pushing MIDI 2.0 and MIDI in general forward.
Yes, and we are very much committed to doing that. And I think Web MIDI, again, is certainly going to be one of the bigger kind of transports that I think is going to, I don't think people have quite figured out exactly how they're going to use that yet, but certainly it will open up a lot of different opportunities.
I don't think when the original 5 companies who thought about and invented MIDI originally, which were Yamaha, Korg, Roland Kawai, and Sequential Circuits, I don't think they envisioned an iPad. I don't think they envisioned wireless MIDI. All of those things, we developed MIDI 2.0 to be good for the next 40 years, hopefully. So
the exciting part of coming to trade shows like this is hearing people go, oh, I've got this idea. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, is we open up different avenues for people to go, I've got an idea and I've not ever thought about doing MIDI in this way. And you listen to people and they're like, I want to try and do this with MIDI, and you're like, go for it. And they can actually just pick up the specification and they go for it. And this stuff that comes out of people is just so creative and so amazing. And I think it's really important for MIDI Association to actually foster that growth. And so that's what I say. I don't think everyone's kind of figured it out yet. I think it's because we're going to wait for those creative people to come out and actually come up with some amazing things that's going to blow everyone's minds.
Speaking of creative people, we've still got another 2 sides of the MIDI Association booth to cover, so thanks, Andrew.
No worries. Thank you.